The meeting to order, please. I'm calling the meeting to order. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes?
I don't have to.
I know.
Any corrections to the minutes? Anyone? So, we accept the minutes as is. And what we didn't do, I'm talking about it. Excursion buses, that would be Bobby.
I've gotten some inquiries about a bus to go to the baseball stadium when spring training starts. My feeling is that if we want to do that, we should ask Omar or whatever in charge, if we can take a bus,
Regular bus.
a regular bus, and add one stop on however many days we want. If there's an interest, I will call the stadium to find out if they will allow our bus to come onto the property to drop people off near the club of wherever you
The
buy
entrance.
tickets. I don't think they have jitneys anymore running through the parking lot. What's the feeling here? Should I investigate?
Who here would like to go to the ballpark?
We will not start with buying tickets. That will be your own responsibility. All we will do is offer the bus. We will not start with selling tickets and all of that.
When does it start, this training, when does it start?
Sometime late February.
Late February.
March, end of March.
I thought it was March.
Oh, before, no,
Yeah.
you're right,
It is?
before regular season
Right.
starts in April, so
Right.
before April.
Yeah, late
A
February.
month, about like 6 weeks,
Well,
isn't it?
So if you want, and if we think we can add a stop on a regular route, I will investigate and report back.
How much of an interest? I don't see anyone in this room that's
I think
interested.
you go the last time we did it years ago.
Years ago, I don't remember.
I don't either.
I don't know
It got complicated because we were buying tickets ahead of time.
Wow.
Right, I thought we were buying tickets ahead of time. Maybe do we wanna put a note in the next reporter?
Well, I would
How many-
suggest before we do that, we wait for them to come, Omar and
See if we
whoever
can
else,
just
and ask, because they might say no. And then to put it in the paper and advertise it.
And again,
And I can't see spending $900 to go to the ballpark.
No. And the bus, and when we had a special bus, there was a problem. Well, what if the game is rained out after the fourth inning, you know, if
Problem is that if you put it into the next newspaper, by the
Too
time
late.
you get anything back, preseason's over.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of wasteful.
Right.
I'll call, and also the stadium will not allow us to let the bus drive onto the
So that's
property.
the end of it.
It's because it's quite a schlep from the Haverhill to the
And they don't have trams or jails or anything.
thing. I'll find out what I can find out.
Well,
I think it's a moot point.
Mm.
Everyone wants to go can find their own way.
okay. Anything else, Bobby?
No,
Okay. Do we have any old business? Yes, sir.
I think it falls under old business. John Bagdonis, Windsor R delegate.
Yeah.
For what it's worth. Did we ever get a handle on, well, first of all, what constitutes a ride? A moment someone gets on the bus, say, if they're in front of their home bus stop,
Right.
gets to the clubhouse, and jumps off. Is that one ride?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so have we come, I'm doing a little bit comparison for other
No,
reasons,
just
but
tell
one
me.
of them, what I'm looking for is the number of riders per month. Look, we talked about this a few years
I
ago,
know.
maybe a few years ago before that. Do we have a handle on how many people are riding the buses?
No, we did for a while, but this is the problem. I took a bus in the evening, I went to Publix, there was only 3 of us at all the stops. I came back, there was about 7 or 8 of us. We cannot stop any bus from running, even if you don't see people. I heard this repeatedly. We can't.
No, I
It's
understand,
like,
I'm not,
it's like altering sometimes there's a lot of people and sometimes there's none. You know, it's in season, out of season, the bus drivers were clicking in, we can have them continue to do that again. I'll ask him when he comes. And,
no, I understand we're under contract, and I'm not advocating stopping. Okay, that's not my intent to even be here, I think you're doing a great job under very strange circumstances sometimes.
thank you.
But I know we're under contract, and while that question is the contract expired this year, or we have two
No.
more years, three
No,
more
we
years?
have a couple of more years.
A couple more years ahead,
Right,
okay, for
Right, I
discussion.
thought it was last year, but
And I understand it's kind of etched in stone, so many buses, and the routes are already etched in stone, and they're gonna drive whether there's anybody on the bus or not.
That's-
I understand all
that's good.
that.
We're getting newer buses. We have gotten a couple of new ones and we're expecting newer ones next month. The bus company, I have to be honest with you, is working so much better with us than they ever did. I
Oh, I'm
think
sure. Again, this is nothing, nowhere near a complaint, it's nothing more than
that's
that.
right. We're entitled,
Facts.
people entitled.
Where
Suggest,
If I'm not understanding that the budget is approximately $1.5 million.
I would say
Well,
some little less, right? Maybe
1.4.
1.2 or something.
and we're in that ballpark anyway.
Yeah.
And this kind of comes back from, bless his heart, Ed Black is still with us.
Mhm.
And we've had this discussion where back then, a few years ago, it was anywhere between 300 and 400 riders per week. Well, when you do the math, it's a lot of money per ride. So again, it's just something for you guys to consider, and also the population of Simply Village. It's just something that'll probably come up within the next couple of years when you discuss the budget. Do we have an alert?
No, I want to make sure David's still on. Are you still on, David?
I'm still on.
Okay, thanks. Yeah,
So I really don't have much to add. If you don't have a figure, I don't know that it's a disappointment, but I was hoping to have something specific, because I don't want to run my mouth about something and it's totally out of whack. I know we're spending a million point something.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
and I know there's only a certain amount of riders every time you get on a bus, so if somebody goes to Publix and back, that's 4 rides. Home to clubhouse to
Yeah,
Publix.
because they have to change the bus.
I understand, so I want to make sure I have the definition correct as far as rides.
As far as I see, that's because if you're going from here to the clubhouse, you get off, taking another bus.
Yeah, and I understand you have no way of
You have to.
figuring out who's transferring and all that kind of mess.
Well, if they're clicking people on, we could consider 2 different.
Same
ones.
thing,
Right.
same thing. So again, at a million point something a month, if you do the math. Are we using 10% of the population, is
Well,
5% of the population?
John, you can't do that.
I understand.
You can't, it's an amenity that was given, because if you use that analogy, we spent $250,000 plus to redo the tennis courts
Right,
that take care of 150 people
most,
at the most in season. And I don't even think that 150 figure was 4 or 5 years ago. It's an amenity
Well, I was
that,
involved in that stuff too.
but I'm saying, it's some amenity that we have. We may be able to tailor it, leave it. When years ago, before we switched from Academy, I wanted to put a 15-passenger golf cart, pick you up and bring you to the clubhouse.
Nowadays,
And we discussed having the city bus come in and pick you up and take you where you wanna go. Of course, a lot of people didn't like it, okay?
Again, I'm not looking for an automatic
No,
miracle here, I'm
but-
just getting some facts.
It's
No, no,
it's a
no, I
service
understand
that,
what you're saying, I agree, but,
And is it true, at one point, David Israel told me that, again, it's not a federal, it's not a state law that we have to provide buses, it's just an
Right.
entity that we do.
right, it's what we have a court order that says
but that's
that
because
if
we provide
we
buses.
provide bus service, the cost must be shared by everybody.
No, that part I understand.
That's it.
The idea.
Well, that came in after.
Not questioning that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying,
Alright,
it's a lot of money and, we'll see, the contract still has a couple of years.
Again, I'm not advocating stopping.
No, but I kind of like the idea of the tram services, not to use the bus fuel.
Years ago, the people used to jump off and jump on, that was part of the,
Well, I guess
anyway. thank
any
you so
village
much.
will always have its problems, you're welcome. Anyone else? I can't see if hands are raised on. They'll come, they'll be over. I know. Any new business? Anyone? Let me see if you answer. Moving on, general discussion, we have part of it just now. Okay, do you have anything to say?
Oh.
Okay. Good and welfare? We come to the end, what? Anyone? You have something to say?
I have some suggestions.
Yes,
So this is the time now?
yes,
Oh, okay, first I'd like to thank Patricia and whoever was involved in providing the transportation to the mall, which people enjoy, greatly enjoy it, and thank you for that. Even in reference to that, I can say that most of the people and most of the time, if you go to the mall, they need 2 hours. So, so maybe I agree that the transportation, if not for the transportation, I wouldn't be here in the village because my husband wasn't driving. And this really solved me the place. I mean, that's why I enjoy, and I take the bus all the time. So, but I think there is something more balancing. And I'm glad that there isn't, you cut 1 bus from Publix, that it's only the 3 buses that go to Publix, because most of the time they are almost empty. I won't say empty, but I see many empty buses also. So maybe something so in reference to that, you don't need to cut anything, just to balance, and I'm not trying to make it hard for anybody. Just more convenient and more opinions and more suggestions, more routes, like if you can do things that people can enjoy and not add to the budget, it shouldn't cost more, just balance a little. So I'm just asking, is it possible to go once a week to PGA Mall? I'm just asking now when you discuss this.
well, the thing is that if we keep adding places that we didn't have before, he made a point to tell us. He bent the rules a little bit to go to the mall and other places. If we start changing the schedule, adding on more stops, we're going to get hit with a lot more money. And most of the things done in here, we try to do for everyone, the whole village.
Yes.
You know, I understood your complaint because you made a valid point. Shabbos is Friday to Saturday, I got that. So we got the bus to go to the mall, the outlets every day, so that everybody had the opportunity to go. But it's not easy to add on spots, especially when only a couple of people want it, or to change the schedule. You weren't here because I know you weren't here, you just came now. We spoke to Omar, who should have been here, with Mario. They cannot keep changing the schedule. They made it perfectly clear they cannot. We paid something like $1.2 million now.
I hear.
I mean, we try to add on things for everyone. Now, I took the bus on Sunday, there's a lot of stops to go, you know. There's a lot of places to go in here, they go to different supermarkets and
Yeah, the Sunday bus, I must say, is like full to capacity, like the test. He is really running around fast to get back here and start the next round. Also, so that's why, but you see, I live by the road and I see that going to Publix, the buses are empty. I don't want, not to take anything away, but maybe you could even make, instead of 3 buses going to Publix, only 2 buses, and take advantage of that and go to other places.
okay,
Not
but-
to cut anything
I know,
off.
but what he said the last time, he being Omar, one of the managers, said that it's not possible, the schedules have to stay the way they are. Now, as I said before, I think you heard me, you could be an empty bus going, but you don't know coming back how many people are on the bus. I can't do anything about the schedules, you know, and if he upsets one bus and he has just a 2, or he takes 2 away and he has the 1, it's gonna upset the whole schedule. Let's say they usually come to your house to drop you off at 4:15. And now you took away that bus and the other bus you have to maybe wait until 5. It's a schedule that they work very hard on for months. I can suggest, and I can bring things to them, but ultimately, it's the bus company that decides what's worth doing, what isn't, and what the schedule should be like. We cannot change schedules.
I go to Publix also because I completely rely on the buses. And I see that buses go empty and come empty, maybe not the same bus, but a lot. It's not only once a while. And that's why maybe it can be utilized a little better and take something
Well,
and
I'm-
leave it for the public. People
I'm gonna
want
take
to
it
know.
under advisement.
I'm just giving suggestions, I'm not coming wide, I'm just saying,
Huh? Yeah, and I'll give it to the manager.
people like to go to PJ, they had it, I think. And now, this is such a suggestion, and this would be nice for everybody. Also, people don't know, I'm being recorded, I don't mind if I'm being recorded, so I don't need to talk, to repeat myself, and not take anybody's time.
You're on TV.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
I
Channel
wasn't
590.
aware.
The meetings,
This is
the
my
meetings
fault.
are always recorded, so the people who happen to
Okay,
not make the meeting, they look at it on the blog.
I'm not, and I'm suggesting things that for the entire population here, not all PGA, everybody enjoys, like the outlet mall, everybody enjoys. And that also the outlet mall, if once in 2 hours would be just as good, or maybe every other day, it doesn't need, because not so many people go to the PGA every day. So maybe you can do less going to the outlet malls and once on and
I'm going to give you
go
a form, everything that's done for the transportation committee, I think everyone knows, and you know that. It's
I
done
can
by a
type it up,
form.
it's no problem.
I'm gonna give you the form, I want you to fill it out,
Okay,
and I will fax it over to the manager like I do all the forms. Manager now, usually returns calls himself. They've gotten very involved, but I really can't do it verbally. If you write it down, I'll give you the paper when we're finished with the meeting. Hand it to me, I'll have it faxed over to him. I thought he would be here, I can't see the time. What time is it?
2:45.
I don't know, he didn't call me.
also many people don't know about this, I found, and I saw another 2 ladies at the mall and they had no idea that it's going to the mall. How do you advertise? Only in the paper? Yes, many ladies don't know about this.
I don't know
So,
about that
yeah.
because it's been said in assembly, it's on all these schedules. If they take the bus, they would see it. And it's been announced, you weren't here all year, so it didn't happen while you were here.
That's why it took me a while, only now about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I found out
Yes,
that it
David.
really went to the mall.
You want to say something, David?
No conversation going in and out.
Oh, I'm sorry, the phone is on the table, I don't know why.
Well, if I were to tell you, we print somewhere in the neighborhood of 500, easily 500 schedules a month. And drop them off at the clubhouse, they're at the Hastings Fitness Center, we have them here. So I know why people say that they don't know, and the schedule has not been changed since May of 2023.
Right.
So we don't change schedules that easily because we would have to replace everybody's schedule. So we try not to do that. You know, like you say, there's empty buses that travel, but they're on a schedule. They try to make it a 1 hour swing, going out and coming back. So to you, to see an empty bus, you say there's nobody on there when they're passing you, but maybe 15 minutes down the road, there's 7 people waiting for the bus.
I have seen what's going on, I know, maybe, can I ask, I'm not trying to, just to improve things, I'm not greedy. Suppose if the bus would go to Publix, not every single hour, sometimes. My best suggestion would be that maybe going to Publix, if it can be 2 buses.
That requires changing the schedule.
2 buses,
But it required, when there was 4 buses, we took away 1 bus and people complained.
okay, maybe.
But we increased because people wanted
Maybe
to
I
go
want
to.
a Cadillac, you send me a 1-person ride,
To the
and
point
it
where
would be cheaper.
there used to be 4 buses, we eliminated 1 bus with the help.
Definitely,
And we went to the other shopping centers that people
Yes.
wanted to go,
Yes,
okay? And
that's
people
very
complain,
clever.
why don't we have 4 buses?
Yeah.
But
No.
again, they're on an hourly schedule and they have to, in order to change one stop, you have to change the whole schedule. That's what you have to understand.
It's a little headache, I know, but
But
maybe in
not
the
only
long
that,
run,
but-
it pays off. I
I
don't
also had, so that you understand, it's not always the same bus drivers. They take bus drivers, they move them around from routes to routes, and every time that a new bus driver comes in, has to learn the route. Now, to ask a bus driver that's never been in here to say, he can follow the route that we have, but to say on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you don't do this stop, it's not going to work. It's a lot more complicated than just saying eliminating a bus, eliminating a stop.
Yeah,
Michael wants to-
eliminating a route,
I
it
can't see.
would create a logistical nightmare at this point,
exactly.
because everything right now works as cogs in a machine, one driving the other,
Right.
scheduled relying on the others for interconnections. If we start plucking pieces out of the puzzle, at that point, the rest of it falls apart.
It's not as easy as, and we
It's
hear
hard, I know.
we
I
hear it all
assume.
the time, you know, I saw an empty bus, but that bus is on an hourly schedule. You know,
I guess I'll just add this point. There are times, and just to emphasize the fluctuation, there are times when I come to this meeting via the bus. Maybe there's 1 or 2 people on it. Today, that bus was packed, so to further that point, you're never gonna know, which is why it's a fixed amenity to be able to have it there. It's there, people need to use it, and if they don't, then that's something that
Well,
happens as well.
that's the point I'm trying to make, they have an hourly schedule, so many stops on that route, and that's what they have to maintain.
100%.
And any changing on even one stop makes a difference.
So like this, even for you still have this contract for the next 5 years or 4 years or 3 years, everything is gonna be the same way,
We don't
even
know
though
that.
it can be a little better.
Well, we don't know that.
I'm talking about improving the system, that's it.
Again, we can make, like Patricia said, get in writing, we give it to the bus company and the bus company will look into it.
Remember what you did the last time, and that's how you got to the outlets?
Yes, thank you,
No,
I made it probably with an
No,
announcement,
no,
it's a
I'm trying to make a
fantastic
point.
thing, yes.
Excuse me, I'm trying to make a point. If they see a lot of people wanna go a certain place, they might do it. I don't really have that much pull, it has
Yes.
to be on paper.
So what I wanted to also to suggest that this was a very good thing when I remember it was COVID time or just before COVID, they started taking like attendance about people, where they were going. I remember the bus driver was writing down, so you have an idea what's going on. So if you take attendance just for 1 month, how many people go to Publix, maybe you see that you can have 2 buses instead of 3
Michael's
buses.
gonna-
At this point, with the continued conversation on that, motion to take the suggestion from the floor under advisement for future session.
Yes.
That's what Patricia.
Yes, I did say that.
Once it puts
I
in
did,
writing.
okay, so that's exactly what I said. So we're gonna have to end it here, because it's not gonna go anywhere without,
Okay,
I see they didn't show up.
another thing,
Excuse me, pardon me?
We have her name for now.
We will, we'll get.
We
you-
will, she's gonna write out for me, that she'll give her the
I
name.
also wanted to make at the same token another suggestion, if I say PGA, I mean once a week, I don't mean more.
I know,
And,
I know.
and,
I understand.
and at the same token, I would also like to ask if the bus, it can be arranged to go to the ocean twice a week.
No.
No.
You
Those
should.
are
The ocean, no,
That's not the regular bus, that's not the regular bus.
Also, there is coming in the 4 corners coming in, it's a community road, what is it, in the village already, where I live, but the first building of Gulf's Edge faces that route, it's community road. The sign, street sign is so small that for 5 years I wasn't even aware that there is some sort of a sign over there. Why not make a bigger sign like other places have?
Which one?
Come in at the 4 corners, people come in and you don't
You mean the
know.
where the stop sign is when you come from Happy Hill?
Yes, you'll see there's such a tiny sign, much smaller than any other sign. I could see it for a few years, I didn't.
Put that in writing and we'll send that to our property manager to address it.
Yeah, yes, it's.
Okay,
You realize?
You have to put it in writing.
don't leave it till I give you some forms,
Okay,
all right?
and now maybe now all these people will go out of the, will drive by, they see, hey, there's no sign. It doesn't-
I hear every word you're saying,
Yes.
I took it, did you have something to say, Faith? I
I
couldn't
was,
tell.
no, it was just that, I was thinking about the Good Samaritan Center, that's still on the schedule, because the bus don't go there anymore, right?
I don't even know where it gets out of the stuff.
Okay. The imaging center that was down the corner.
Yeah.
No, it don't go there
Images will
anymore.
close.
Oh, they took it away.
No, so that's out, you see. And again,
No,
you
that's
have
why
on
they
this,
took it away.
you have on the schedule that the bus that goes through the Harbor Hill Gate, it goes to that Family Dollar up the corner. Between Okeechobee
It
and,
goes to the family.
How
I gotta
many?
take it, I gotta look at the schedule, I don't know.
yeah, so you have to request the stop or it's a regular stop.
Is it on the?
Is it on the schedule now?
Should be on the schedule.
If it's on the schedule and it doesn't say you have to request it.
Yeah, he said, yes, that will be the first stop from Central Village.
Well, when I usually get on the bus and I have to go somewhere, I let them know even coming home because I can't see that well. And
Well, really, that corner is very difficult for the bus, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not driving, but it's difficult to go in by that little area. But hardly I've ever seen anybody stop there, but it's on the schedule. Because some of the time when they miss the stop, I'm wondering if it's a requested stop or is the,
It would say requested on the schedule if it was requested, so it must be a,
It's an normal question in Maryland.
I know, I'm very disappointed they didn't call and they didn't show up, very disappointed. I'll have to talk to them about that.
and we spoke about this the last time about the buses left open by Publix when the drivers go inside.
I didn't get
That's
anything
correct.
from you, Faith, you were told many times,
Yeah,
but if you put it on paper, the date and the time, I can give it to Omar, he even said it here when he was here last month.
that's all
Because he
almost
wants
every
to
day.
know, but I can't tell him, if you don't put it on paper, Omar
Well,
said,
suppose the drivers close the door then. Is that against the rule?
As long as there's no one on the bus, yeah, they can.
Can you
close
come
the
out,
door.
can you close the door?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, well, that would be easier. That's what I think.
See, the last time that Omar was here, I think you brought it up, a couple other people, and I did also. And he said he wanted to make sure he got in writing. And he said, of course, if no one's on the bus and he has to go to the one's room or whatever.
Right, so
he
just
said,
close the door.
Right. So you're saying it was
Well,
already,
there's
okay,
some people, guys that come on the bus and when the driver maybe asked for the thing, he said, the bus belongs to Central Village, so we can ride, and they just go sit down.
No.
The bus belongs to Central Village, so they live in Central Village, so that means they can ride.
You need a
Without the
bus,
bus.
a date and a time, because there's cameras in there and they can listen.
they have,
to
they
the
have,
conversation.
look, one woman said that she was hit by the bus driver, and actually it was the opposite, she hit the bus driver. And what they don't know, and I keep saying repeatedly, there are cameras all over this village and on the bus as well. So it was a fallacy, and she's not allowed to get on the buses anymore. So if you see something and you don't put it in paper and you don't drop it off,
It happens so often.
I know,
But you gotta do it 100 times.
I can't take your word, because he wants it in writing, he's the manager. I'm just head of this committee, but I'm not the manager. You know what I mean? If you get it to me, I promise you,
I know you will.
every day, anyone in this room can tell you they've gotten answers from it, I will send it in. Just like I sent this woman's, when she wanted to go to the outlet, I made sure they got it.
I'd like to.
You gotta be recognized, sweetheart.
It would be just common if the driver said, ask for the pass. I mean, if you're going on the other bus, you pay before you go and sit down.
Just put it,
So what is so
just put it in writing that people are getting on the bus without the bus driver being
They're
there.
not asking.
They're not, okay, you have to put it in writing so I could give it to him. He's very upset about these things. He already let 1 or 2 bus drivers go and one is on probation. So if we don't put it in writing, it's not their fault or my fault, we don't know. We have to present
It
proof.
would be so often putting the same thing in writing.
So that's all right.
It doesn't matter.
Just put
Okay,
everything,
okay, I got
even
it.
2 lines on the paper.
I
The
don't get it.
bus driver today, number 1, did this, number 2, number 3. I hand it to him, I give it to him, and he'll take care of it.
If,
Yes,
if you read the minutes, you'll see this was addressed
Yeah.
last month.
oh, it was,
And,
okay.
and we said that the drivers leave the bus only when it's empty
Right,
and no passengers are on board.
that's a company policy.
If there's an emergency, someone else will take over, but
Right.
they do
That's
not
what he
leave
said.
when.
Right, so they're not aware of that.
So we've told them already.
Right, right.
If you leave the bus, you should leave it open. If you-
No, it's supposed to keep it closed.
The door is supposed to be closed with no one on, she just said.
Yeah.
So-
In regards to this subject that is being discussed now by publics, they get off the bus sometimes to check outside. But why do they need to leave the bus running? They keep running and spraying this gas into the air all the time, here and there.
That was addressed at the last meeting, and Omar said it takes too long to get it started up again.
You have no idea how much.
I do. Yes, Michael.
So,
You know?
to address that as well, it was also brought up that maintaining the cooling systems and the heating
Right.
systems on the bus requires it to maintain, to maintain temperature, otherwise it can take 20 to 30 minutes to get it back to temperature. And, to the point, when they're receiving the messages, for any type of, complaints or issues, one issue here and there is just an issue, but if they get 20, 30 of the same complaint over and over again, it identifies a problem. And that's really the only way they're gonna be able to address it on their end, is by systemically seeing that, yes, okay, this continues to be a problem, otherwise an isolated incident will just be looked at as that.
You're right. Okay, anyone else? Then I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you for coming, and if you wait, I'll give you a form, and I understand what you're saying.
I will see you Sunday.
I understand, but I don't know what you're saying, because I brought it up. My suggestion is.
Michael, you want to write them down?
Oh, sure.